Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Florida.
It was a record-setting homestand filled with wins, drama, and walk-offs. From Jeff Baker to Casey McGee. And yesterday, it ended with Marcell Ozuna. 8-1 was something to celebrate. But how will it play on the road? First stop, San Diego, a 4-gamer, and even the Friar is ready for late night with the Fish.
San Diego is always beautiful. Petco Park, one of the best in baseball. And the Marlins are here for a 4-game set with the San Diego Padres. Come on in, we got baseball tonight. It's late night with the Fish. Little Tony Gwynn statue out in center field. Marcell Ozuna had the game winner yesterday. The Marlins finished the homestand with a walk-off. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, along with Tommy Hutton. For the Marlins, a terrific homestand. It's propelled them to the top of the East. And Hut, for the Fish, they'd like to keep that show going on the road.
It's a little different on the road. All those walk-off wins, you can't do that when you're on the road. So you're going to have to build up a little bit of a lead. And I think some of those innings that we saw on the road where the Marlins had an opportunity to open up games, they need to do that on the road.
Marlins Park is not a hitter's park. Petco Park is not a hitter's park. But you look at the numbers from the homestand, and you think, hey, if they can do it in Miami, they should be able to do it in San Diego.
Yeah, this is a nice ballpark to transition to. The fact that it's similar in many ways because there are a lot of big gaps, center field, right center, and left center. All you have to do is look at the numbers. That tells you why the Marlins played so well on the most recent homestand. They need to keep it going here in San Diego.
Now the video leading in showed all the hits and all the walk-offs, but pitching was so important in the great homestand for the Marlins. And Jacob Turner is part of the rotation that the Marlins would like to get going. 4 guys are firing on all cylinders. Turner's not quite there yet.
If you remember and look back to the game Turner had against the Dodgers, a lot of breaking balls that were flat, that were hung out over the plate in good hittable areas to a really good hitting team. 9 hits and 6 runs in his 4 innings. Jacob Turner beat the Padres last year. He's 1-0 in his career against San Diego. First time he's ever pitched here at Petco.
Chevron starters continue. Ian Kennedy. Anytime you have a Bud Black team, you're going to have a really good rotation. Kennedy is coming around right now. He beat the Marlins in Miami.
You know, an odd number on Kennedy. Yeah, he went 6 innings, gave up 3 hits and a run. He is winless here in this ballpark this year with an ERA over 5. He's 0-4, but he's a good pitcher.
In this ballpark, out west, the Marlins trying to take the W's on the road. First stop, Petco Park. It's Miami, it's San Diego, and it's next.
5, you know the mood. Late night with the Fish, where anything can happen. Petco Park in San Diego. The San Diegans are still arriving, and we go down below. Allison Williams, A-Dub, how are you?
Hey there, Rich Waltz, doing great. And hey, if anything can happen tonight, how about a Marlins win on the road? They haven't done that very often this year, just 2-10 away from Miami, the worst road record in Major League Baseball. But if you ask the Marlins players, they are not alarmed. They know it's early in the season. They are a confident bunch despite their record on the road, which they hope to improve upon with their first game here in San Diego. I talked to the Fish about how they keep that home mojo going here in San Diego.
We got to come out and not really worry about our surroundings. Just come out and keep playing the same kind of baseball we have been. And, we got our work cut out for us, no doubt. These guys are all teams that historically play pretty well in their own ballparks and stuff. So, it's gonna be a grind. But, if we can continue to play the way we've been playing and just do the little things right, I think we'll give ourselves a chance to have a nice road trip.
But today can be the day we turn it around. Just keep our focus, keep taking that energy we have at home and just take it out here on the road. So, you can't really force something different to happen. You just got to try to stay focused and just kind of stay with what you've been doing at home and just transfer it to playing out here.
Obviously we want to get off to a good start. We got a long road trip here, and it'd be nice to get the first one. But, it's been early. Our home and road splits, it's still really early in the season. You can't really look too much into those. Obviously we haven't played as well on the road as we'd like to. But, I think this road trip's a good time to turn it around, and obviously trying to get the first game here tonight is really important.
And the Marlins will tell you the first game of any series is important, but especially on the road and especially to start an 11-game road trip. They would really like to pick up the win tonight, position themselves well for this 4-game series, and keep that confidence going that they had at home after an 8-1 homestand. It is a late night with the Fish, the first of the year. Marlins and Padres, Game 1 when we return.
Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places by AT U-verse TV. Check availability 1-800-PICK-AT&T. Rethink possible by Checkers. Visit your local Checkers for the $2 shrimp and fries box by your South Florida Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. Downtown San Diego, the Gaslamp Quarter, right next to Petco Park. Late night with the Fish. Marlins lineup, Christian Yelich leads it off. Derek Dietrich, Giancarlo Stanton to follow. Casey McGee in the cleanup spot. Jared Saltalamacchia, Garrett Jones, Marcelo Zuna, Adeiny Echeverria, and Jacob Turner. Yelich in the box, ready to go. Pinch a penny brings you first pitch. And the road trip begins with a fastball that's grooved in there for a strike. And it's 0-1 on Yelich. The Marlins coming off just a dynamite homestand, their best 9-game homestand. Yelich was not a huge offensive force in that stand, which is I guess the sign of a team, Tommy, that has a lot of weapons and got production from every part of their lineup.
Yeah, that's a good point, because there were times we talked about some of the things that Giancarlo did. There were times we talked about the key base hits, Casey McGee. So everybody contributed. Ian Kennedy, the best way to describe Kennedy, I think, is he's just a solid pitcher. He knows what to do, moves the ball around really well, changes speed. Good curveball there.
Got a breaking ball. Jed Jerko takes care of Christian Yelich. Padres defensively tonight. A lot of speed out on the field.
Yeah, and you look in the outfield, Seth Smith has been hot with the bat. He's in left. Cameron Maben, we know Cameron can cover a lot of ground. Chris Denorfia in right field. Amarista, you remember him. Everett Cabrera made a couple of errors in their game yesterday. A little shaky defensively. Jerko and Alonso and Osmani Grandal. So a nice contingent from Miami will be watching and checking in with this one.
Now Dietrich goes after the first pitch, pops it up, and it's into the seats. This ballpark will always hold significance for Derek Dietrich. This is where he made his major league debut, and he almost didn't make it here. His parents almost didn't make it here, but of course Dietrich getting a base hit to start his big league career.
He had a 1-for-3 day.
(0-2) Ian Kennedy, the 29-year-old Southern California native, Huntington Beach, USC product. And a polished big league pitcher, Yankee first-round pick, 4 nice years in Arizona. And this, his first full season here in San Diego. Split his time between the Diamondbacks and the Padres last year.
Tell you what, he was the opening day starter for the Diamondbacks 3 years. So that gives you an idea. Type of pitcher, 20-game winner, 1 year with Arizona.
Wow, that's a pretty good looking pitch. Fox Tracks shows it was out. Got to get ready. Not a true center look. It always takes us a batter or two to readjust our sight lines from Marlins Park. You're off to the third base side of home plate, so a pitch like that looks like it's on the corner is off. Kennedy shakes off one set of signs. Grandal puts down one finger. Fastball right by him, 95 miles an hour.
I think a term you use, Rich, really applies to Kennedy. A polished pitcher. He knows what to do. Command guy. Saw him move the fastball up and down. We've seen some curve balls. A curve, he'll use a change up. And he was a 21-game winner with the Diamondbacks. He came back the next year, 115.
Here is Stanton. And Kennedy rides one on the outside part for a strike. Stanton, a terrific homestand, hit in all 9 games, 3 homers, 9 RBIs. He homered against the Padres, and he's hit a couple of homers in his career against Kennedy.
That's a pitch that a lot of pitchers, they'll try to expand the strike zone to Stanton at breaking ball and move it off the plate outside.
Kennedy looks sharp early. His 0-2 to Stanton. Got him, changeup. Ian Kennedy, a very brief appearance in the top of the first. Jacob Turner will try to match that when we return underway in San Diego. Historic San Diego, just a terrific setting. And right smack dab in the middle of it is Petco Park. Marlins and Padres, and here come the San Diego Padres. Chris Denorfia having a solid year. Everett Cabrera is at short. Seth Smith in the 3 spot. Yasmani Grandal, the Miami product, is swinging it, and he's hot right now. Jed Jerko starting to get back into it after a really slow start. Cameron Maybin, our old friend, is back and healthy and swinging it well. Yonder Alonso, Alexei Amarista, and Ian Kennedy in the 9 spot.
Yeah, Buddy Black has tried a few combos to get that offense going. There you see the numbers on Jacob Turner, just the 2 starts. Remember, he had 1 start early in the year, went on the disabled list, hurt that forearm swinging the bat, taking some BP, and then came back last time out, left a lot of breaking balls flat and out over the plate to the Dodgers. Let's see if he improves on that tonight.
Here is Denorfia, Padres right fielder tonight. Remember, the Marlins and the Padres met in the first week of April in Miami. And the Marlins took 2 of 3 and had Alexei Amarista not ambushed a Nathan Eovaldi breaking ball, the Marlins probably would have swept that series. Tom Kohler, Jose Fernandez both getting wins in that series. And then it was Kennedy who won game 3. To right, Stanton goes back, and he's there, and he makes the catch. So Turner gets an out. Here's the defense that's behind the 23-year-old right-hander.
A lot of room to cover in the outfield, so the Marlins, no strangers to that. Yelich, Ozuna, and Stanton. Got McGee and Echeverria over on the left side. Derek Dietrich had a nice game defensively yesterday against the Mets. Garrett Jones at first. And Saltalamacchia, last time he played here was in 07. He was a Brave.
Everett Cabrera now. Switch hitting shortstop out of Nicaragua. And a stolen base threat. Padres have some speed, especially with Amarista in the lineup. And Cameron Maybin back. And he shoots it by the diving McGee into left field. And this will be a challenge for Turner. One of the issues for Jacob Turner has been holding runners and being quick to the plate.
Well, you have to play in because you have to guard for a possible bunt. And Cabrera just takes advantage of that. Slaps the ball sharply past McGee.
When last Jacob Turner was on the mound, D. Gordon was swiping a couple of bases. And so here is Smith, who is hot right now. And he is especially hot in this ballpark this year, which for the Padres, a team that's offensively challenged in a ballpark that's pitcher friendly, for Smith to hit 400 at home is significant.
This is a ball club, because of their offensive challenges, when they have speed and get in a situation like this, they're going to do everything possible to try to get that run.
It's funny, Smith 400 at home. In Major League Baseball, there are only 2 other hitters that are hotter at home, and they're both Colorado Rockies, his former team. Troy Tulowitzki, 608, and Charlie Blackmon at 414.
608 for Tulo. Tulo probably didn't hit that in Little League.
Pretty impressive. And a strike there by Turner. Counts 1-1 to Seth Smith, former backup quarterback at Ole Miss. One of Chris Coughlin's teammates on that Rebel baseball team as well. Backed up Eli Manning.
Ran into Jeff Mathis in the clubhouse, who did a nice job yesterday handling Tom Kohler. And we were talking a little bit about Jacob Turner, even though Saltalamacchia is handling him tonight. And he said he really has to keep that 2-seamer down and get some ground balls.
Ball and a strike. Cabrera's running. Pitch in the dirt. And Cabrera swipes the bag. And just like that, the Padres have a runner in scoring position.
Well, it's going to be a common theme because advanced scouts see what other teams are doing against the Marlins. So for Cabrera, his 6th steal of the year.
And oftentimes you look at a catcher's throwing percentage, and for Jared Saltalamacchia, that's a good case of, I guess, illustrating. A lot of times catchers have no chance. Cabrera got a huge jump, and Saltalamacchia didn't have any sort of pitch to catch and throw on. Outside corner, Ron Kopa calling balls and strikes, and Hickox, Lance Barrett, Dana DeMuth out on the bases for this 4-game set in San Diego. Turner gets the ball to start things. Everybody but Tom Kohler will pitch here. Kohler will open up the Dodger series up in Los Angeles. And Turner loses Smith. And another one of the hot Padre bats, Yasmani Grandal, comes to the plate.
What a job for Tom Kohler in that game yesterday. 8 shutout innings, allowing just 2 hits in his no decision. Yeah, the 2 Miami guys have always hit pretty well against the Marlins. Grandal in 9 games against the Marlins, over 380. And Alonso in 14 games against the Marlins, over 340.
And here is Grandal. His last 6 games have been quite productive. 3 homers, 3 doubles. His last 9 hits have been for extra bases. That one is in the air, and Yelich has it. 2 outs, and here comes Jed Jerko. For Jerko, it's been a slow start. The West Virginia product, who kind of burst onto the scene last year with 26 doubles, 23 home runs last year. He put up such big numbers in the minor leagues, and he had a very nice, very representative rookie season. He takes a strike. But in the Kansas City series, 1 for 13, 4 for 25 in the homestand. Bouncer, Echeverria to second, tough play, knocked down by Dietrich, and everybody is safe. Echeverria may have thought about third, chose to go to second. Dietrich did a nice job just to block the ball.
Yeah, at this point, this is all Dietrich's trying to do. He sees the low throw also to his right, and he just wants to make sure he keeps it in the infield and keeps the speedy Cabrera from scoring, keeps him at third base. Going to be an error charge to Echeverria. Not an easy play, but he had a couple of choices.
And now Cameron Maybin, the former Marlin. A .388 average against the Marlins. And of course, Maybin, I believe it was the first year after the Marlins had traded him to the Padres. Came back to Miami. The series was actually at the old football stadium, Sun Life Stadium. Maybin not only killed the Marlins with a bat, he robbed a couple of home runs.
Stole some bases. He did absolutely everything.
Diving catches. Right now, Jacob Turner trying to get him out. The Padres have the bags loaded with 2 outs. And Maybin, a bouncer, wide of third.
So oddly enough, you have 2 former first-round Detroit Tiger picks going after each other. Jacob Turner and Cameron Maybin.
Maybin, one of the big pieces in that Miguel Cabrera trade. The other is actually thriving out of the bullpen for the Red Sox. Andrew Miller has finally found a place and some success. Here's the 1-1. Saltalamacchia got enough of a piece to keep the speedy Cabrera at third base.
Snapped off that breaking pitch a little too much. Good job by Salty.
"18 pitches in" is Turner. Bags are loaded, 2 down. Hot smash, Echeverria on to second, gets the out, and San Diego leaves them loaded in the first. To the second, scoreless ball game. Marlins didn't push Ian Kennedy around much, just 12 pitches in a 1-2-3 inning. The Padres loaded the bases against Jacob Turner, but it's all even with McGee, Saltalamacchia, and Jones here in the second in San Diego. Fastball is out to McGee. McGee, a big reason why the Marlins had a great homestand. He was .400 on the homestand. Chopper out to short. Cabrera straightens up and throws him out. Major League Baseball All-Star Game voting is underway. Of course, the All-Star Game in Minneapolis. Go to Marlins.com. Vote the maximum 25 times and you'll get 4 free tickets to a Marlins home game. Help your Marlins All-Star hopefuls and vote now. July 3rd at Marlins.com.
And certainly there are some deserving Marlins. Yeah, you talk, Rich, about the Marlins sweeping the Mets. The Marlins swept Atlanta. They also had a 3-game sweep of Seattle. So three-game sweeps. All of last year, the Marlins had 2.
Saltalamacchia up right now. Obviously, the Marlins are dynamite at home, and so much has been made of it. Though the sample size at 34 games into the season, the Fish a Major League best 17-5. But when you look at the road record of 2-10, the 2 factors that I don't think a lot of people touch on are the fact that the Marlins in 6 of the 10 losses had the lead or were tied in the 8th inning of those ball games. And they ran into some dynamite starting pitching in their tour of the East. That's a strike to Saltalamacchia. This is their first road game out of the East this year.
You also think about it, in one of those road games in Philadelphia was Jose's worst outing of the year against the Phillies. But then they lost in 10 innings, 5-4. They lost 4-3 to Philadelphia.
There are the splits. They ran into the Braves rotation when the Braves rotation was white hot in Atlanta. The Mets rotation was dynamite at that point when the Marlins were in New York. That being said, in those ball games, watching the Marlins on the road, there were a lot of little things that the club did not do well.
I think I said it when we opened up the telecast tonight. There were a number of games, even on the homestand, where the Marlins in 7th or 8th inning had men at third, bases loaded, less than 2 out, had an opportunity to open up games that they won in their final at bat. You can't do that on the road. You have to take advantage of those opportunities,
because you don't get that final at bat. Kennedy with a high fastball, and he's used that high fastball to strike out a pair of lefty bats in Dietrich and now Saltalamacchia. Here comes Garrett Jones.
2 guys who are good low fastball hitters. So you see how Kennedy's working. He's working his game plan, moves that ball up, and gets his 3rd strikeout.
I guess what we're saying in terms of the numbers, the Marlins on the road, they're not that far away from getting wins on the road. If they can just do a few more things right, it's not nearly as big a canyon as it was last year. With a ball club that walks in here at 19-15, tied for first in the East. The Washington Nationals and the Marlins with identical records to start play tonight. That's popped up between third and home, and it's going to drop foul. Amarista and Grandal looking at each other in a cross fashion. That's almost one where you almost want the pitcher to get involved.
Ian Kennedy kind of held his arms out like he didn't see it. That could be possible. And then both Grandal and Amarista are saying, should you have caught it? No, I think you should have caught it.
That's a tougher play for a catcher, but Amarista has to go a lot further because the Padres are shifted for the left-handed hitting Garrett Jones. Jones went on the breaking ball in the dirt, and the count's 1-2. Well, Kennedy certainly looks sharp right now.
It's hard to believe that he's 2-4, but in that 2-4 record, he's 0-4 with an ERA over 5 here at Petco.
Well, here's the odd number to contrast that. While Kennedy can't win at Petco, Jacob Turner can't win on the road, period. He's never won a road start in 15 career road starts. And this is a good place to start. Jones steps out. Ozuna waits on deck. 2-2. Got him. Ian Kennedy is dealing tonight. He has punched out 4 already in just 2 innings.
Major League Baseball are in action tonight. For many, a travel day. For the Marlins, yesterday a travel day after a walk-off win and a sweep of the Mets. And arriving here in San Diego last night, a 4-game series starting tonight. Padres have Yonder Alonso, Alexei Amarista, and Ian Kennedy against Jacob Turner. Alonso has scuffled out of the gates this year.
He told me before the game a lot of it has to do with just rhythm at the plate. He's working on that.
Coral Gables High School, University of Miami product. Of course, he and Grandal linked. In a lot of ways, they're Miami guys in terms of where they were raised, but they were both born in Cuba. They were both first-round picks of the Reds, and they were both traded to the Padres in the same trade. Echeverria on to first to get the out, and we check in with Allison Williams.
Well, Rich, Jacob Turner on the mound for the Marlins. And he's not only looking for his first road win with the Fish. He's 0-6 away from Miami. He's looking for the first road win of his career. You go back to his time in Detroit. 15 starts on the road. He is 0-9. That is the third longest stretch to begin a career with starts on the road without a road win. The longest stretch, 20 games. Jack Neighbors back in 1915 to 1917. For Jacob Turner, a couple issues on the road if you want to look at his splits. First of all, his ERA is under 4, but it's actually a run better than his home ERA, which is 5. And he needs to try and keep the ball in the park. He's given up 12 home runs in his 15 road starts. But the big thing, too, for him, getting some offensive help. On the road, run support, just 2.46 runs per game. So he could certainly use some help from his teammates. I talked to manager Mike Redmond before the game. He said the key tonight for Turner, consistency in the strike zone, staying out of trouble situations. And if he could give his manager 6 innings tonight, he would be very pleased. Guys.
Thank you, Allison.
Well, he's going to have to change a little bit from that first inning because he was not consistent, and the Padres got the bases loaded.
To center, and Ozuna makes a running catch. Catch every strikeout, every game ender, every walk-off, every history maker. MLB Whip Around, weeknights, 10 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. That's right in the wheelhouse now that we're on the West Coast. Is the MLB Whip Around on Fox Sports 1.
I'm just getting my watches and everything turned back. That's why I like the cell phones. They do it automatically.
Here's Kennedy. And Kennedy takes in. See, this is the guy that if you're Turner and you had a high pitch first inning, there's 2 outs, there's nobody on, and the pitcher comes up. To go 2-0 against him is not in the game plan. And Kennedy drives one to left and hits it deep. Yelich looks up, and it's gone. Ian Kennedy, of all people, homers to left center. His first career home run, and he hit it well.
Well, I think it goes to show you it doesn't matter who you fall behind 2-0 to. Even a pitcher who can swing the bat a little bit. 2-0 pitch right there, and Ian Kennedy can celebrate his first Major League home run.
Chris DeNorfia now back up to the leadoff spot. The Padres looking for power, looking for extra base power, and they find it from their pitcher tonight.
Turner evens the count at 2-2. Giants and Dodgers underway. Dodger Stadium, scoreless, bottom second. And Turner strikes out Denorfia. But he fell behind Kennedy and then came in with a fastball. Kennedy hits it out. It's 1-0 San Diego. Out the fish. He struck out 4 and he's hit 1 out. We invite you now to tweet your photo, hashtag FLFanPhoto. It's a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. The funny thing is, Tommy, they were all talking to each other. Marcell Ozuna, Adeiny Echeverria, and then Jacob Turner. Kennedy has 4 strikeouts, all swinging. Dietrich, Stanton, Saltalamacchia, and Jones.
Got a couple of left-handers. Dietrich, Saltalamacchia with that fastball up. He's also thrown a nice curveball tonight, too. There's a slider.
Anytime you pitch half your games in Arizona, as he did in 2011, and you come out of the season with an ERA of under 3 and win 21 games, that's an incredible year. But that was him as a Diamondback. 33 starts, 21-4 at 2.88 ERA in a great hitter's park. Now, in Arizona's division, obviously you've got some real good pitchers' parks in San Diego, San Francisco. Maybe at nighttime you can call Dodger Stadium a pitcher's park. But then you've got the 2 extreme hitters' parks in Colorado and Arizona. Ozuna shoots 1 to first. Alonso steps on the bag. Even though it's late night with the fish, we have to remind you that this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Marlins, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins.
You know, the year Kennedy won the 21 games, Clayton Kershaw won the Cy Young Award, even though Kennedy led the league in wins. And I'll give you a quick little trivia. He was the 4th Arizona Diamondback 20-game winner.
Curt Schilling, Randy Johnson.
Those are the 2 easy ones.
Dan Herron.
Good guess. Remember, I'll give you a hint. They had a good sinker ball guy. A guy who got a lot of ground ball outs. Short career, but when he was on and healthy, he was very good. Brandon Webb.
Forgot about Brandon Webb.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, did he pitch for Oakland? But it seems like every former Diamondback starter has pitched for Oakland. Those two teams have traded a lot, and a lot of guys that have pitched in Arizona have ended up in Oakland at one point or another. Echeverria with a count 0-2. Outside corner. He dots the black. So that's 5 strikeouts already for Kennedy on a night where he has homered for a 1-0 lead.
So far, it's been all Ian Kennedy tonight. Good pitches and an assortment of stuff. That is a nasty pitch.
Turner takes a strike. Padres enter play at 15-20 with the Giants and the Rockies atop the West. The Giants are 21-13. The Rockies are 22-14.
Now Ian Kennedy doing what you want to see a pitcher do against another pitcher. Getting ahead, couple of good fastballs, 1-2. Wow.
Sharp breaking ball. Ian Kennedy, first time through the lineup, has struck out 6. So buy me a drink. It's my bachelorette party. I don't know. It was up on. Great savings with the new Marlins Flex Pack. Take advantage of season ticket prices, and you get the flexibility of coming to the ballpark when you want, with as many people as you want. Get 20 ticket vouchers starting at just $13 a game. Pick your Flex Pack up today, 1-877-MARLINS, or go to marlins.com. For the Padres in the third, Everett Cabrera, Seth Smith, Yasmani Grandal. Padres last year finished 76-86. They had a strong September to get there, and it's the exact same record they had back in 2012. Their last winning season was 2010 when they went 90-72 and just missed the postseason. To left, hit well. Yelich won't get it, and it's in the corner. And Everett Cabrera is right back in scoring position for the second time tonight.
Well, Cabrera's had a couple of really nice swings. Remember, he smacked that base hit past McGee at third, went the other way, picked up a steal, and this time slices a line drive out of the reach of Yelich. So 2 terrific swings by the switch hitting shortstop.
Cabrera was in scoring position with 1 out in the first after he singled and stole second. Now the Padres will see if they can get him over and get him in. Padre pitching this year has been pretty solid, and so if Bud Black's bunch can get 3 or 4 runs in a ball game, in this ballpark, they can be tough to beat. They played a lot of close games, 24 games decided by 2 runs or less, and they're 13-11 in those contests. Hit hard, Jones. That'll get the job done and move the runner to third. Good at bat by Smith. And now Grandal will try to drive the run in.
Have to decide, if you're Mike Redmond, what to do with the infield. It's early, but it's one of those games, and you're in a ballpark that not a lot of runs are scored, and you look at the way the game's going and you get a feel. So Red has that feel. He goes, got to cut this run down. So he brings his infield in, even though it's only the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Well, he's watched Ian Kennedy strike out 6 for the first 9 hitters he's faced. So you get the feeling runs will be tough to come by for Miami tonight. As long as Kennedy's in the ball game, Grandal swings to a fastball. And he fouls it at the plate.
We'll keep our eye on Cabrera at third base to see if he's going on contact.
Cabrera's at third, infield's in. Grandal, we told you Alonso went to Coral Gables High School. Grandal went to Miami Springs High School before ending up at the University of Miami. Counts 0-2. Hard to believe that this is the 11th season of baseball in this ballpark.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to believe that the visiting bullpen used to be down the right field line, too.
Well, they've adjusted. They've made improvements and tweaked it as they've gone. Remember, at the start of last year, they'd moved the fence in from right field. You see that blue board on the right field fence. That's about 10 feet in from where it was originally. Shortened it a bit in center and left center.
You were talking earlier about Yasmani Grandal always being able to hit, and in 180 games in the minor leagues, Grandal a .310 career average. So he was one of those guys, wherever he was, be it the Cincinnati Reds or the Padres, they figured he was going to hit.
Chopper, Jones looks the runner back, steps on the bag.
Well, a good job. And Cabrera may have been going on contact on a ball hit up the middle, shortstop or second base, but once he saw that chopper pulled, he pulled up immediately. And a good job by Garrett Jones to keep an eye on him. Watch Jones. Here's the catch. Now the first look is over to see what Cabrera is going to do. He sees that he's staying at third. He gets the out. And so far, all is well.
Pitch misses outside. One part of that replay, watch Jared Saltalamacchia. You know, catchers have to remember, especially on this play, on a bang-bang play, to make sure they get to the front of the plate. Roll it. There you go. Look at him. He's already thinking about making sure there's a lane, just in case.
Something he may not have had to think about in years past.
And that's one of the things Joe Torre told us in Los Angeles, that rule at home plate, the real test is on infield in ground balls where the runner is going to go on contact. Jerko fouls it over the screen.
This would be a real key for Jacob Turner if he can get out of this situation. Got a couple of tough bats in Smith and then Grandal. If he can get Jerko and keep the Padres from adding on another run.
Jerko bounced to short back in the first. There's Cabrera, leadoff double, waiting at third. And that fastball fouled off the catcher, Saltalamacchia. Jerko packs a wallop for a guy that is listed at 5'10".
In some ways, he gives you, reminds you a little of Dan Uggla. He takes big swings.
Brett Boone into right. Stanton is there, and he makes the catch.
Good job.
And Turner pitches out of that leadoff double. Good place to be. San Diego 1-0. Padres, let's check in with Allison Williams.
Well, Rich, the Marlins trying to take some of their success at home out on the road, so manager Mike Redmond decided to take a piece of his office out on the road with him. Here's Mike in his office here inside the clubhouse at Petco Park. And what's that on top of the fridge but a Charlie Brown Christmas tree? It has become a good luck memento for the team. It was a gift from his sister-in-law, Amy, prior to the start of the season. She sent it down with good luck wishes. The story there, it might seem a bit odd. Amy is a tax accountant, so obviously very busy from the start of the year until the middle of April. So you go back to 2010 when Redmond was playing in Cleveland. He went over to Amy's house after opening day, and lo and behold, she still had her Christmas tree up. So he gave her all sorts of a hard time. They laughed about it. She still did this year as well. So to make him smile, she sent down his own Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Now, what the Marlins have done is each series, when they win a game, they take one of the baseball Christmas bulbs that they have and hang it on the tree after the game to represent the win. It's gotten to the point where Dan Jennings, Mike Hill will come down in his office after a win at home and hang one of those bulbs with them on the tree. So Redmond decided on this road trip to bring it along with him. Silverman helped him pack it up into one of the big ball bags. They wrapped it all up in bubble wrap tissue paper to keep the tree and the balls there. You see them in the cups are the baseball bulbs that they will hang on it. And he hopes by the end of this series here in Petco, there's 4 nice baseball bulbs hanging on that little Charlie Brown tree, guys.
And Allison, if that's the case, he's promised to do the Snoopy dance, just like Snoopy did around that tree.
Good grief. But you saw the lizard on there. That's just something that Frank Menachino gave him to put on there.
Nice touch. That's strike 3, inside corner. Yelich bent over and was taken off the pad. He thought it was ball 4. Here's a look on Fox Tracks.
Well, I'll tell you, in and out, up and down, off speed, breaking balls. This ball moved back. And there are a number of times, and I give Christian Yelich credit. He's got a lot of patience and he has a terrific eye. There are a lot of times that he strikes out, and clearly on Fox tracks the pitch is out of the strike zone. He was right, but you know, if the umpire's right, you're not going to win that case.
Dietrich a little tapper, and Kennedy is mowing him down right now. 7 strikeouts. He's retired 11 straight to open up this ball game.
Ian Kennedy is making this look really easy. He's had, in his time in the big leagues, a really interesting run against National League East teams.
Yes. Stanton a chopper, and it's wide of third.
But you have a guy who's 11 games over 500 in his career. But Ian Kennedy, in 28 starts against the National League East, is 14-5 with the nice ERA just a little over 3.
Beat the Marlins in early April. And he's out in front of Stanton. He struck him out his first time up. Change up darts away.
He's mixed a few of those in, not too many.
One and two now.
By the way, the Rockies are playing in Texas tonight. Rangers are winning 5-0 in the 9th inning, but Nolan Arenado got himself a base hit, a 28-game hitting streak now.
Now those two teams just played up in Colorado, right?
They're doing the 2-2 thing, yeah.
What a great hitters environment for both of those series, for all 4 games. You get the altitude in Colorado, then you get Texas, which is a great ballpark to hit in as well.
That's a Rockies team record for a hitting streak too, the 28 games.
Cabrera. Ian Kennedy, 4 perfect innings in San Diego tonight. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors, inviting you to find your own lane, and by Blue Bell Ice Cream. Petco Park in San Diego. Jacob Turner and the Marlins opening a 4-game road trip, or 4-game series, a lengthy road trip. Marlins 4 here, 3 in Los Angeles, and then 4 in San Francisco. So an 11-game trip altogether. Cameron Maben. Yonder Alonso. Alexi Amarista in the 4th. Story in this ball game has been Ian Kennedy. on both sides. Kennedy has been dominant on the mound. The Marlins do not have a base runner in their 4 innings, and Kennedy is homered for the only run for San Diego.
Yeah, you're right about this game so far being all Ian Kennedy.
That's a base hit for Maben. So Maben is aboard. This just the start of things in San Diego here on this Thursday night. Tomorrow night, Jose Fernandez is on the mound for the Fish. Tyson Ross, a right-hander, will be the opponent. And it's Marlins and Padres. Craig Minervini, Carl Pavano in the studio. Late Night with the Fish, Part 2. Brought to you by your South Florida Honda dealers tomorrow night.
Now, Carl Pavano will be able to break down Jose Fernandez. Remember, we had Carl right behind home plate at Marlins Park in his last start.
Maben, a threat to run, a little flare down the line, and foul.
That was another thing you talked about, that series Cameron Maben had at Old Pro Player when he returned against the Marlins. He had a lot of stolen bases in that series as well.
Maben out from spring training to a couple weeks ago with a ruptured bicep on his left arm.
I see that he wears a little bit of a protective sleeve there. He's had a lot of injuries. Missed most of last year with the wrist and knee injuries.
He bluffs. And the pitch is out. Padres have a stolen base already. Alonso bounced to short his first time up. Phillies went down in Toronto tonight.
They went down hard.
Toronto all of a sudden is hot. And the Blue Jays beat the Phillies 12-6. R.A. Dickey gets the win in that one. Toronto has won 5 straight. They're over 500 now at 18-17. Edwin Encarnacion had a couple of home runs. Colby Rasmus homered.
I believe that was an A.J. Burnett start for Philadelphia.
Burnett gave up 3 home runs. The Blue Jays hit 5 total in the ballgame. Maben leaning, not running. Fastball, ground ball, out towards second. One there. Etch's turn is in time. Dietrich and Echeverria turn a double play.
Good job by Echeverria. Didn't get the perfect flip. He got a quick flip, but here's the flip from Dietrich. He has to go to his left and reach up for it, and he makes the good adjustment. Don't always anticipate that one right at your chest. So a good adjustment and an easy double play. The key there is to keep Maben at first base and keep him from stealing.
Here's Amarista, who lined to center his first time up. And a good breaking ball from Turner, who is starting to settle into this ball game now after giving up the home run to Kennedy back in the second. Amarista's nickname, is it the Little Ninja?
Little Ninja.
And he certainly acted like a little ninja in Miami when he surprised everyone on an incredible at bat with Nathan Eovaldi protecting a 2-1 lead.
It was a pinch hit.
Yeah.
And it was on his birthday.
And he had a 3-run homer. But he strikes out there. Amarista goes down. Marlins looking for their first base runner. Going to the 5th, Jared Saltalamacchia will try to do something about it. It's 1-0 San Diego. This is a perfect setting for late night with the fish. Marlins in San Diego, opening up a West Coast swing. So far, it's been late night with Ian Kennedy. 7 strikeouts, and Kennedy has homered for the only run of the ball game. He's been perfect through 4. And he fires in a strike to Casey McGee. Jared Saltalamacchia, Garrett Jones to follow for Miami. And Kennedy, from the very start, has been right on it. Big breaking balls that end up on the corner, fastballs that he's been able to spot on both sides of the plate.
Well, career high for Ian Kennedy in strikeouts is 12. Done that 3 times. But look at how he's staying with his control, right in the same area.
The last pitch was at the knees and on the plate, and that one,
there's a changeup.
Gets McGee out on the front foot. Saturday, Major League Baseball on Fox Sports 1 is back. Doubleheader, Giants and Dodgers right up the road, and Chavez Ravine. And then the Indians and the Rays. It all starts 3:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Case McGee, Rich, now is 0 for 11 in his career against Ian Kennedy. One of the Marlins hitters that's had some success is on deck, Garrett Jones.
Kennedy has just been dominant. 8 strikeouts. So 8 of his 13 outs have been strikeouts.
There he goes upstairs again. Talked about Saltalamacchia. His only other time here at Petco was in 07, much earlier in his career when he was with Atlanta. And he was 2 for 6 in a couple of games.
Padres are the only Major League franchise without a no-hitter. Of course, the Mets were that way until Johan Santana achieved the feat. Padres have had some great pitchers in their history.
Talked to one of them today, Randy Jones.
Another strikeout.
Well, he's staying right there. A lot of pitchers have tried to do that, but if they miss down or if they miss out over the plate a little bit, they get hurt. But he has stayed up and gotten Saltalamacchia a couple of times.
9 strikeouts by Ian Kennedy. 9 of the 14 outs. This is like a Little League start.
Talked about Garrett Jones, 5 for 13 with a home run against Kennedy. Garrett Jones, Rich, one of the few Marlins hitters that has pretty even numbers at home and on the road. Right around 250, and he has 3 home runs on the road and 2 at home.
Breaking ball clobbered right center field, deep in the gap and off the wall. Jones to second, and that almost got out of here. There's nothing out there in right center that it can deflect off and bounce back in. So if it bounces in, it flat didn't go out. It's not going to hit a sandcastle out there and come back.
Yeah, not too many mistakes. A breaking ball, and Garrett takes advantage of it. It was almost beach time, and he just missed hitting one into that beach area right at the top of that fence.
And here is Ozuna now. 7 doubles on the season for Jones. Miami has their first base runner, their first hit, and it comes with 2 outs in the 5th. Ozuna bounced to first. Kennedy motioning. He wanted Grandal to come out.
Well, it's the first time they've had, number one, any base runner, and in this case, it's a runner at second base. So signs may change. Just want to make sure he's on the same page.
Three games going tonight on the West Coast in Major League Baseball. Giants and Dodgers in Los Angeles, Royals, Mariners in Seattle, Marlins, Padres here. Ian Kennedy perfect for 4 2/3, striking out 9 of the first 14 he'd faced before Garrett Jones banged one off the fence in right center field.
No scoring up in Los Angeles either. Vogelsong and Beckett.
To right, Denorfia towards the line is there, and he makes the catch. Miami has their first hit, but still trails 1-0. Kennedy home run, his first career homer, the only run of the night. We check in with A-Dub.
Well, I got some observations from pitching coach Chuck Hernandez about Jacob Turner early on in this ball game. He said of late his fastball command has been sharper and much better. Earlier on in the game he was missing on his arm side early, but now he's got better extension to what is his glove side or the outside half against righties. Before he was leaking over too early, but that fastball command much better the last few times out for Jacob Turner.
All right, Allison, this was a guy that gave him problems, obviously, in the second, and most of it was in Turner's court because Turner fell behind Kennedy 2-0 and then just threw a fat one over the middle, and Kennedy was swinging from his heels and knocked it out of the park.
And now, in contrast to that, he's gotten ahead 0-2 and almost got him to chase that pitch.
Here's that 2-0 pitch.
That's called a wheelhouse, but then his teammates would say, it's your first Major League home run. You don't have a wheelhouse.
Well, he's laid off 2 breaking balls. All of a sudden, he's a confident hitter, and it's 2-2. Top of the order, Denorfia and Cabrera for San Diego. Padres are 5 under, but they're not in last place in the West. Arizona is. And runs that fastball up under his hands and strikes him out. Well, give your group an experience they won't forget. Bring them to Marlins Park in 2014. Party areas, suite rentals, special event nights, fundraisers. You can experience all of that. Marlins baseball through a variety of group packages. 305-480-2523. Go to marlins.com/groups. Top of the order, Chris Denorfia. He is flied out and struck out. Slow tapper. This could be a tough play. McGee, Denorfia runs well. That's going to be a base hit.
You know, it's 5 innings in a row now. The Padres have had a base runner. But you're right. Even if Casey McGee picks that ball cleanly, he's got to get something on it, get something on the throw, because Denorfia got up the line pretty well.
Maybe I should rephrase that. He has some speed. I don't know that he runs well. I mean, his form is not anything of beauty, but he does have some quicks. Now Cabrera, who has singled and doubled. Another left-handed bat, Seth Smith on deck. Cabrera, the switch-hitting shortstop. And an all-star last year. Bouncer, Dietrich, flip, got one there, got another there. Second double play from Dietrich to Echeverria to Jones. And Turner is out of the 5th. Turner pitching well right now. The problem is Ian Kennedy is unbeatable so far. In San Diego tonight, late night with the Fish. Terrific pitching. And a fastball from Ian Kennedy. And Danny Echeverria, Jacob Turner, Christian Yelich. Kennedy perfect through 4 2/3. A Garrett Jones double, the only hit Miami has. And the only run the Padres have, Ian Kennedy, his first career homer. And so that's where we stand right now. Runs tough to come by for the Padres. They've had opportunities to score more than just one. The Marlins have had just one base runner all night.
We talked about that two-seamer for Jacob Turner. He's utilized that and gotten help with a couple of nice 4-6-3 double plays.
Yeah, Turner's line looks nice. 5 innings, 5 hits, a run, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Kennedy's line is downright nasty. 5 innings, a hit, no runs, no walks, and 9 strikeouts. He struck out 9 of the first 14 hitters he faced. And the 29-year-old back to work. Echeverria called out on strikes his first time up. 10 strikeouts for Ian Kennedy. My goodness.
You know, you go back to last inning and you try to find, hey, has this guy made any mistakes? And he hung a couple of breaking balls last inning. He got hurt on the first one. The curveball to Garrett Jones. There's the hanger. It's about belled high. And then he got the final out. He got away with another one on the fly ball off the bat of Ozuna. But I'll tell you what, he's come back here in the 6th inning. He's made some good pitches. They have been the fastball. He's used that pitch.
Ian Kennedy has been around for a while. His career high in strikeouts, 12. So he's just 2 shy of a career high. And just like that, he's 0-2 on Turner. Wow. That's a nasty pitch. I know it missed, but a lot of drop. That thing came a long ways. Struck him out. 11 strikeouts, just 1 shy of a career high, and there's only 2 outs in the 6th inning.
Wow. This has been impressive. It's been dominating. Yet the Marlins trail by just 1 run. And that's what you have to think about. If you're on the bench, you think 1 swing away and this game's tied. And actually, I think some of the guys thought that when Garrett Jones hit that ball to deep right center.
Yelich now takes down low. One thing about San Diego, and it's been a tradition here, along with fish tacos and for many years Trevor Hoffman, the Padres have always had a good bullpen, and their bullpen this year has been very, very good. A 1.95 ERA from the pen this year.
And their closer, Rich, is a guy that, I guess because he's out west here, doesn't get a whole lot of acclaim, but he's been extremely efficient throughout his career, Houston Street. He has 10 saves this year.
Well, he spent his career out west. Yelich lines it left field. Smith won't get it. It's over his head. It bounces away from him. Yelich steaming around second. Will stop there.
Well, the Marlins are getting those doubles, but each time they've got the double, it's been with 2 outs. They had the Garrett Jones double last inning. And so many times this year, we've seen the opposite field power of Christian Yelich on balls the other way that just jump over the heads of left fielders. And this is a great example, getting one over the head of Smith.
Scouts talk about Yelich's extension on his swing. With the long arms, he has the ability to reach out and drive that pitch that's on the outside part or even just off the plate. Dietrich 0 for 2. Struck out and bounced to first.
Kennedy has pitched Dietrich the way he's pitched Saltalamacchia. When he shows him the fastball, he tries to keep it up because both are good low fastball hitters.
Fastball up. Dietrich's been good with runners in scoring position this year. He's got one out there with 2 outs. Yelich's 6th double of the year. And that would be Yasmani Grandal getting crossed up. He may have taken a strike away from the pitcher. Anytime a catcher raises up like that, he'll take the view of the umpire away at times.
And what he was thinking with him raising up the way he did, because that breaking ball came out of Kennedy's hand up high, he was thinking fastball. So he sees this pitch up there. He thinks he's going to have to go up and catch another fastball.
It was out.
And it was
up.
a breaking ball.
Counts 2-0. He had a good pitch to hit. That's the best one he's had to hit all night.
That ball sneaking in on the hitters because it looked like that ball was by him. And that was a 2-0 pitch, a fastball. You figure Dietrich's ready for a fastball.
Yelich at second. 2 outs. Dietrich into right field. That's a base hit. Denorfia up with it. Here comes Yelich. Here comes a throw. He's going to score. This game is tied.
Oh, I love watching Christian Yelich run. Kind of like seeing Dietrich drive him in with a base hit, too. Good swing. Couple of good swings from some young left-handed hitters. And Yelich has that smooth stride and gets there fast. There's the fastball up. Dietrich adjusted, got to it. Denorfia's got a pretty good arm in right field, but here comes Yelich. No chance at
all. Yelich is like a great 400-meter runner who's got the long strides and is moving faster than you think he is. Stanton now. In the dirt, Dietrich broke with the ball in the dirt, ends up at second, on his way to third. He figures we'll stop there. Don't want to get thrown out at third.
You know what? If there's 1 out, it's not a bad chance to take. But with 2 out and Stanton the hitter, he made the right decision. And a good decision here. He's got his feet moving. He's not locked in. And once he sees the ball skip by Grandal, he takes off.
Nice job by Maben to hustle in. So let's see if Stanton gets something to hit here. Kennedy has handled McGee and Stanton tonight.
Well, a nice 2-out rally. Back-to-back hits. The double by Yelich. The RBI single by Dietrich. And just like that, the shutout's gone for Kennedy. And it's a tie game.
1-1 coming to Stanton. Breaking ball away.
Chase that his first time up. He was able to lay off it there.
Not only was Kennedy dominant, he's got 11 strikeouts right now. There's 2 outs in the 6th inning, but his pitch count was low. The Marlins have pushed it now up into the 80s. Number 84 coming. Kennedy didn't like that call. He snaps his glove, but it was out.
Good job by Ron Kulpa.
The 3-1 pitch coming. Missed for a changeup. Stanton, in baseball parlance, spit on it.
He really showed Stanton that he wasn't going to give him much to hit. And this is one of those scenarios we saw so often on the homestand. Stanton not getting much. Casey McGee coming up and driving in some big runs. Casey with 21 RBIs.
That's the sequence to Stanton. If he just happened by, Ian Kennedy was unbeatable to start this game. Not only was he in the process of striking out 11 Marlins, he was perfect through 4 2/3. He also hit his first major league home run, and that's the Padres' only run. While Miami couldn't get a base runner until the Jones double in the 5th, Christian Yelich doubling here in the 6th with 2 outs, and Derek Dietrich chased him home with a single to right. Now McGee with Stanton at first and Dietrich at second. At the very least, the Marlins tying the game and forcing Kennedy to pitch from the stretch. Not something he's done much. You see with runners in scoring position, McGee at 441.
We also talked about this has been a tough matchup for Casey. 0 for 11 in his career against Kennedy,
who seems to be overthrowing right now.
Right now he's out of that rhythm he was in when he was piling up all those strikeouts.
There's something to getting a guy who's been in the windup the entire night all of a sudden to have to pitch from the stretch. The mechanics are different. The rhythm is different. Two and one. Outfield towards right center. Change up. Now 3-1 with Saltalamacchia on deck. We talked about pitch count. 24 of his 89 pitches have come this inning. 3-1. That's out. McGee walks. And Kennedy has the bags loaded, and Saltalamacchia coming up. Tommy, you described the way Kennedy attacked both Dietrich and Saltalamacchia. Dietrich adjusted to get a base hit.
Yeah, we'll see if Salty has that in his mind. The other thing, with Kennedy struggling with the control, he's facing a guy with a .400 on base percentage, a guy who's shown us he has a really good eye.
Bags loaded, 2 outs. Marlins have tied it. A rip at a fastball. It's 0-1.
Pretty good one to hit, too.
Tim Stauffer in San Diego's bullpen is getting loose in a real hurry. Change up, misses away. You see the outfield for Saltalamacchia a bit towards left center. Infield plays him to pull. Now it's 2-1, and Kennedy, who was perfect for the first 14 outs.
Now Salty's in the driver's seat.
Has gone double, single, walk, and walk after 2 out here in the 6th. A strike.
Wow. Kennedy got a break.
2-2. And he struck him out. Saltalamacchia has punched out 3 times, but the Marlins are on the board. Derek Dietrich. It's 1-1. night here in San Diego, the kid is back on the hill. Jose Fernandez takes on the Padres. Tyson Ross gets the start for the Friars. Fernandez and Ross. It all starts 9:30. Marlins live. 10 o'clock first pitch. A little late night with the fish. Late night with the kid. And late night here. Marlins and Padres 1-1.
And Rich, we have things all set up here in the press room, in the dining room, to have Cuban sandwiches made for you and I for the start of Jose's tomorrow night.
Better make an extra one, because tomorrow night in the middle of the game we will switch analysts, as you and Mark Grant, the Padres television analyst who works with Dick Enberg, will switch. Not quite like the Yankees wife swapping in the 70s, but
no, not like Fritz Peterson and Mike Kekich.
Kekich.
Yeah, we'll just switch seats for an inning.
Smith, Grandal, and Jerko. Turner with a change. Fox Sports San Diego. Look how dapper he will fit right in this booth.
Yeah, I have to thank Mark Grant. He helped me with my pocket square tonight. He works with the always dapper Dick Enberg. Nice pitching. This is a big inning for Jacob Turner, who, by the way, he entered this inning having thrown 68 pitches. He's at 72 pitches now, and made a beauty right here. Ian Kennedy's at 95 pitches through 30 in the 6th inning.
It's amazing how things can turn in a ball game. Kennedy was dominant. He was perfect into the 5th. Turner really battled it early. Left the bags loaded in the 1st. Gave up a homer to the pitcher Kennedy in the 2nd. But now here they are in the 6th. Turner has a better pitch count and right now has a little better control.
Got nice rhythm going. Kennedy got out of that rhythm last inning. So that's what helps. And you see that over the years with really good starting pitchers.
Bouncer. Dietrich.
They don't always have it together, but they're able to work through it. And we've seen that tonight. Jacob Turner's done that. That's a good sign.
Marlins.com, your one-stop shop. Breaking news, tickets, sweepstakes, merchandise, and more. Sign up for free Marlins email, text alerts. You can receive year-round Marlins coverage, offers, discounts, and more. Go to Marlins.com and become a Marlin insider. Jed Jerko is lined out, reached on an error, and Turner catches the outside corner for a strike.
Command of that fastball. That's what Chuck Hernandez talked about. This is where I give credit to catchers too. You have Jared Saltalamacchia back there. He's had a tough night at the plate. He's 0 for 3, struck out 3 times. Look at the pitch counts by inning, how they've come down. But Salty's had to go back there, getting his game plan with Turner, and doing his job.
That one pulled foul. Some news surrounding the next 2 opponents for the Marlins. Hyunjin Ryu unlikely to return when eligible to come off the disabled list. He was eligible on Tuesday when the Marlins are in Los Angeles. But Matt Cain is going to rejoin the Giants. He's poised to come back on Saturday and face the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium.
Well, and speaking of guys coming back from rehab assignments, the Padres expect to have Chase Headley on Saturday available. They still have Carlos Quentin on the DL, but it'll still be a little while for him before he comes back. But Headley, from what I was told today, should be back Saturday.
Echeverria loads up, and Jacob Turner sails through the 6th. 1-1 ball game. Good ball game here in San Diego tonight. built in 2004 here in San Diego. 1-1 ball game. It's the 7th. Let's bring on the Gecko. Time now for the Geico quote of the game from Mike Redmond. I like where we're at right now. I like the energy. I like the chemistry. Now we've got to go out and win out of our suitcase.
And it's a well-packed suitcase on this 11-game road trip.
Garrett Jones, and we'll see if Ian Kennedy continues to throw strikes. Now he struck out 3 in the 6th, but the Marlins got a run on a double and a single with 2 outs. Kennedy then walked 2 more and loaded him up before striking out Saltalamacchia to get out of the inning, and out at first base barely is Garrett Jones, as Yonder Alonso had to tiptoe around the bag.
Nice footwork over at first base by Alonso on that throw that almost got away from Jerko.
There's your box score. It's pretty lonely in that box score. It's pretty lonely for the Padres as well, because Ian Kennedy, who was pitched so well and struck out a career high 12, has produced the only run on his first big league homer.
Yeah, well, if he's able to get one more strikeout, it will establish an all-time career high for him.
1-0 pitch is outside. Now I know there are a variety of statistical bureaus. We use Stats out of Los Angeles. Elias is also very heavily involved in baseball. But someone in both of those places right now is probably looking up the last time a pitcher, as you see Nick Vincent in the bullpen, the last time a pitcher achieved a career high in strikeouts and homered in the same game.
Well, he has Ozuna all messed up in his thinking. He threw him a 2-0 changeup and then a 2-1 fastball that was right there.
Breaking ball off of Kennedy's glove. Jerko has it, and Ozuna's going to beat everybody to the bag at first.
That's one of those reaction play. If he lets it go by, Jerko probably makes the play. But a little bit of the deflection, and Ozuna gets an infield hit.
And that brings up Echeverria.
See where Jerko's playing. He's playing him up the middle.
Turner is due up next. And right now, it looks like Reed Johnson has emerged on deck.
I just want to say, Rich, if the people at Stats Inc. or Elias aren't looking or thinking about that, they are now.
Well, Kennedy with a dozen strikeouts, that actually ties a career high. It's the 4th time in his career he's done it.
This is an opportunity, depending on how the count gets, that we could see a play, possibly hit and run. You got a little speed. You got a guy who can handle a bat. You got a pitcher who's been around the plate for the most part tonight.
Called out on strikes and then went down swinging on an 0-for-2 night is Echeverria.
Carter Capps has been throwing out in the Marlins bullpen.
Ozuna back with the dive. Ozuna did not have a big lead, so as he dove back, he had to adjust the dive. He got a little more air. you don't want to land with your stomach on the bag.
He's another young player who could be a little better base stealer. And I know that's something that Brett Butler's talked to him about, worked with him on a little.
Echeverria swings and misses. Etch, right center, Maben there, and he makes a running catch. Good scouting report, and of course Maben, as Marlin fans know, good first step, good closing speed.
Yeah, he can cover a lot of ground, but it's good to see Echeverria with that same approach that he had on the homestand. Had Ozuna gotten himself in scoring position, we saw Reed Johnson in the on-deck circle. And Mike Redmond was going to pinch hit Reed. But it's going to be Donovan Solano now with Ozuna still at first.
One thing National League teams always try to avoid is getting somebody thrown out for the third out when the pitcher's at the plate, because you don't want that pitcher to lead off the next inning. But that holds true a lot with a guy like Solano here.
Yeah, because if the runner gets thrown out, you lose the pinch hitter altogether. But I think Red and Chuck can feel really good about the job Jacob Turner did tonight.
Strike to Solano. Had the Marlins not had Ozuna aboard with one out and now with two outs, you might see Turner up there. Well, remember the Marlins were bringing him back from the shoulder injury. Swing and a miss, ball in the dirt. Ozuna got caught up between first and second. And in the rundown, he will be tagged out. And just what we talked about.
There goes the pinch hitter. Wow.
So the Marlins' seventh ends on the bases. Late night with the Fish, 1-1 ball game. And on the East Coast, midnight. If you're just coming in, if you're just waking up, we are in San Diego tonight on a gorgeous night. And 1-1 ball game. 7th inning stretch. AT fan photo rolls in now. Look at Gina is all bundled up. Which ballpark do you think that's in, Tommy Hutton?
Let's see. You have the orange seats,
and you've got the so it's not in the old football stadium because she's got all the new Marlin colors going.
Well, Carter Capps will ponder that. Hey, the key for Carter Capps in his 2 appearances since he was recalled, the strikeouts and walks. He has had tremendous control. He's had outstanding fastball. We've seen him touch 100 a couple of times. 6 strikeouts, no walks.
Maben Alonso Amarista for the Padres. Capps, who has that unique delivery, looked like he got stuck on the mound. Does a little groundskeeping out there. North Carolina kid facing another North Carolina kid. Maben is from Asheville, North Carolina. That's 96 and a strike. It's 1-1.
Told us before the game he always has had that type of delivery. Long stride.
.99 miles an hour. Maben fouls it off, and it's 1-2. Maben, a fielder's choice and a single. The Padres 5 hits with their 1 run. Miami 4 hits with their 1 run. Joaquin Benoit, the well compensated setup man, getting loose for San Diego. Capps buries a breaking ball. Capps, of course, coming over from the Seattle Mariners in the Logan Morrison trade. Still makes his home up in Snoqualmie, just outside of Seattle.
Beautiful area. You know it well.
He's 2-2 on the Padres center fielder. High pop, Echeverria out. And he makes the catch. We check in with Allison Williams.
Hey there, Rich. After our late night with the fish, we will have our late night with the fish, our Checkers Marlins live post-game show. I'll be live from the field here at Petco Park. We will recap Game 1 here between the Marlins and the Padres. We will also have Clubhouse reaction to the outcome, and we will have an Allison Asks NFL edition. It was the NFL draft today, in case you didn't notice. It wasn't a lot of coverage or anything like that. People have been following along on the draft throughout the game here at the park, and we will talk to some of the guys, see who in Major League Baseball they would want on their football team. So it's an NFL version of Allison Asks coming up on the Marlins live postgame. There's a hint as to who just about everybody said.
Well, of course, he was recruited by Pete Carroll at USC. Wide receiver, corner. San Diego State had a very good football team this year. And their head coach, Rocky Long, threw out the first pitch tonight. Alonso bounced to short in the second. Bounced into a 4-6-3 double play in the fourth. 6 very nice innings from Jacob Turner. 100 miles an hour. Capps on the outside corner.
Well, that flashes out there on the scoreboard too, where they keep track of balls and strikes and the total pitches that a pitcher's thrown. That's where the radar readings are too.
The pitch just missing, 99.
There it is.
Nobody on, 1 out. Bottom 7. First of 4, Miami and San Diego. Broken bat, shallow center. Ozuna runs it down. Tommy Hutton inside the Marlins is back this Sunday. It's a new episode that follows Marlins catcher and Florida native Jared Saltalamacchia along his journey through baseball, leading up to his decision to join the Marlins. Inside the Marlins, Coming Home airs Sunday after Marlins Live postgame. Here's Amarista, who's lined out and struck out. We expected a good pitching matchup tonight. Ian Kennedy beat the Marlins earlier.
And I guess we kind of expected a low-scoring game as well.
I don't know that we expected this low-scoring a game, but you're right. In this ballpark, the way the Marlins have been pitching, their rotation has been so terrific that Jacob Turner, when he rejoined the team, was like jumping onto a moving train.
It's good to see him jump on the way he did tonight, because of the way Tom Kohler, Henderson Alvarez, Nathan Eovaldi, and Jose Fernandez, the way they've pitched.
As you pointed out, Chuck Hernandez, Mike Redmond have got to be thrilled that Turner was able to adjust tonight, because he was not sharp in the first 2 innings. Over Echeverria, Amarista has himself a base hit. Will Venable.
Now, one thing Bud Black has to be pretty selective as to what he does with his bench players. He's playing with just 4 men on his bench and an extra man in the bullpen.
That's why they call Amarista the little ninja. Venable, a guy that does have some pop. Hit 22 home runs last year. And a low fastball. Venable took it for a strike. You can see the struggles that Venable has had this year.
Well, that's one of the reasons Buddy Black was able to shake things up. He has Denorfia in the lineup. They are not expecting Venable to pull a ball in the outfield. Giancarlo in right field is in the area where the gap is. He's giving Venable the entire line.
Well, I guess if you do the math, Caps throws 100. Venable is a line drive guy in the gap, so.
And a ball that would get through a gap could score Amarista from first base, too.
Without a doubt. In this park and with his speed, you're right. 0-2. Caps working here. Bottom 7 in San Diego. He has pitched in this ballpark. Seattle and San Diego play each other every year in interleague. You know, that same situation holds for the Padres here with Amarista at first and a pinch hitter at the plate. Pitch out, and he was bluffing.
He may have been going, but he may have picked up the pitch out. Sometimes runners are quick enough, can make that decision right away.
3 stolen bases this year. And he is running. A fastball is fouled back and out of play. Well, the Padres have done the math by now. Jose Valentin is the first base coach for the Padres. He's got a stopwatch. And with Caps working from the stretch for the first time, he was able to time him to the plate. And once you get the times down on a few pitches, you have a pretty good idea if a guy's going to make it or not. He's running again. Little tapper. Dietrich goes to get the hop. Short hops it, flips to first in time. Nice inning by Carter Capps. 7 innings in San Diego in a 1-1 game. Gulfstream Park game summary.
Well, for a good part of the game, it was Ian Kennedy. Jacob Turner had a few little issues early on. A 2-0 fastball to Kennedy, homer to give the Padres a lead, but the Marlins came back. Double over the head of the left fielder by Christian Yelich. He came in to score. Nice adjustment on the fastball by Derek Dietrich. Jacob Turner settled down. The last 2 or 3 innings, he pitched extremely well and gave the ball club 6 solid innings. Now it's turned over to the bullpen. Joaquin Benoit comes in for San Diego. Carter Capps has already done a nice job through a nice inning last inning. Benoit with fastball, sliders, and a very good changeup. And as you mentioned, a setup guy who's making closer money.
Yes, he is. The Padres have a well-compensated 8th inning and closer, Benoit and Street. Remember, Miami burned a pinch hitter. Solano was left at the plate when Ozuna was caught off first on a ball in the dirt. So it's Reed Johnson to lead off the 8th against Benoit. Johnson drives one center. Maben lines it up. 1 pitch, 1 out. Jose Fernandez tomorrow night. Marlins Live starts the evening at 9:30. So appointment television tomorrow night. 17,832 on a Friday night, or excuse me, a Thursday night. Keep thinking this is the weekend. travel day after a day game yesterday. Fly ball left. Seth Smith. And he'll make the catch. So I guess it's Friday morning back home, so there's that. And there's the Toyota trend. Bullpen ERA. San Diego, we told you, very, very good. Not as good as another pen the Marlins are going to face, and that's San Francisco.
That's why this West Coast trip's not an easy trip. Boy, you talk about pitching. How about the Marlins? They had the 1-0 walk-off win yesterday. They had the 3-0 Henderson Alvarez shutout the game before. So in almost 3 games now, the Marlins have allowed just 1 run.
Yeah, Miami had gone, 24 consecutive innings before the Padres scored in the second. The Padres did it, as you see Mike Dunn, in the least likely way you'd expect, with Ian Kennedy hitting his first major league homer. Dietrich drove in Miami's only run tonight and fouls a pitch back. That was in the 6th. Kennedy, in 7 innings, struck out a career high 12. Marlins' first hit came with 2 outs in the 5th. That broke up a perfect game. And then 2-out double by Christian Yelich in the 6th. Dietrich, a single through the hole into right field. Padres payroll this year has jumped significantly from last year. Last year, $68 million. This year, $90 million. Of course, they took a flyer on Josh Johnson, an $8 million contract. Johnson injuring his arm and undergoing his 2nd Tommy John surgery. You noted Benoit was well compensated. $6 million this year, $8 million next year. And with a buyout at the end, it's a 2-year contract of almost $16 million. So that's about $8 million a year. Dietrich swings and misses, and Joaquin Benoit goes 1-2-3 in the 8th. Here in San Diego, never too late to download the MLB.com at the ballpark mobile app. Great features throughout the year. Check in through the app, earn free tickets. MLB.com at the ballpark app. It's free. So download it on your mobile device or your immobile device. Here is Mike Dunn. Jacob Turner for 6 innings, 5 hits, a run. Carter caps a scoreless 7th. And now Dunn gets the bottom of the 8th in a 1-1 ball game, opening up a 4-game series in San Diego on this Thursday night. Half the teams, a little over half the teams in Major League Baseball in action tonight. 3 West Coast games, and they're all about the same type of game. In Los Angeles, as you see Chris Denorfia getting ready to go. Giants and Dodgers 1-1, 7th inning stretch there. They're probably doing a little Journey right now, air guitar. In Seattle, bottom 8, 1-0 Seattle over Kansas City. Maybe some Pearl Jam for that 7th inning stretch.
Kansas City just left here.
And here in San Diego, 1-1, Marlins, Padres. Bottom 8, Denorfia, top of the order. Dunn delivers, high fly ball. Stanton makes the catch.
Well, one of the games that's in the books tonight, the Cubs hammered the White Sox. And we always like to talk about Anthony Rizzo, kid out of Parkland, 3 for 5 with a home run. He's having himself a solid year. 7th home run on the year, average near 300.
He's having an all-star type season.
And has 18 RBIs.
Baltimore beat the Rays 3-1, sweeping the Rays. A 3-game sweep.
We get into that situation that we talked about earlier. All the success and the walk-off wins the Marlins had at home. Not able to do that on the road. You noticed Houston Street, their closer, getting ready. And in the tie game, I would imagine he'll pitch the top of the 9th inning.
And the Marlins had that luxury a few times on the homestand in tie games, being able to roll Steve Cishek out in the top of the 9th and keep the tie game secure until Miami was able to walk off.
Well, and if it stays that way, that's what Bud Black hopes when he sends in Street.
Cabrera, the switch hitter, first time from the right side against Dunn. Mike has looked sharp the last few times we've seen him, and that's good. The Marlins need that. They need his veteran presence. Is nice to have in the 7th and the 8th inning. Dunn coming off a terrific year last year, a career best in ERA at 2.66. That's a strike. Cabrera had jettisoned the bat, was on his way to first, and he offers an apology to Ron Culpa, sort of a mea culpa.
Yeah. I mean, it may have been called a ball, but it was pretty close. Whoops.
Full count. Broken bat. Etch better hurt me. And he does. Just getting Cabrera. So it's 2 outs here at the bottom of the 8th.
And Mike Dunn, as you pointed out, Rich, has established himself, I think, as the key left-hander out of the bullpen.
And not a situational guy, but
no,
a guy that, hey, here's the 8th inning, it's yours, lock it down.
Some guys just have that lefty for lefties. A Randy Choate, a Jeremy Affeldt. We'll see him in San Francisco. But Dunn can get both righties and lefties.
The loogie, lefty, only one guy. I've always wondered why there aren't Roogies.
Righty only one guy.
Yeah, the righty specialist. He's in for one guy. In some other parallel universe, there's announcers talking about, you know, if you're right-handed, you could stay in this game a long time.
Maybe in Australia.
Yeah, where the water goes
backwards.
Yeah,
the horse races go the other way. Well, we're on the left coast, so we can diverse.
It's late night. It's early morning back home, actually. Thanks for staying up, kids, by the way. Bottom 8, 1-1 ball game. It's been a good ride so far. And Mike Dunn is striking. It's 2-1 to Seth Smith. AJ Ramos, with another guy that's had a nice year. Hit hard, and Stanton was in the gap, and so Smith is going to get to second and hold there. Ball got stuck on the bottom of the fence. 2-out double, and it's going to give Yasmani Grandal, the switch-hitting catcher, a shot to drive in a run.
Well, fastball right there. Mike Dunn trying to overpower Smith, but you talked about Seth Smith earlier in the game. He's been one of their hottest, if not hottest, hitters. And he jumped on that fastball, kept peeking to see if Stanton was going to get there in time.
Breaking ball, and Grandal takes for a strike.
Not as many at bats for Grandal from this side of the plate. Just 12, 3 for 12 on the year.
All 4 of his home runs have come from the left side of the plate. Much has been made about the Marlins' road record. Obviously, that's happened because they have the best home record in all of baseball, 17-5. So 22 games at home already, and just 12 on the road at 2-10. That evens up after this 11-game.
Yeah, things will even out after this road trip.
The Padres at home are 9-10, so they're 1 under in their home ballpark. Grandal ready, Dunn with a 2-1. Count evens 2-2. Another slider, this one up. Jed Jerko, a right-handed bat on deck. Ramos, the right-hander, is ready in Miami's pen. You'd rather Dunn just get Grandal so you don't have to burn another reliever to finish this inning. Little pop up, and Jones calls for it and catches it. To the ninth, it's 1-1. Giancarlo Stanton could change that in a hurry as the Marlins and the Padres are tied in San Diego. Padres on a late night with the fish. Giancarlo Stanton getting ready to go. He'll lead it off here in the ninth. AT&T U-verse rewind. West Coast, good place for Giancarlo Stanton in his native state and here in San Diego. Back in 2012, a couple of home runs. He's homered 4 times here in this ballpark. That one was up in the Western Metal Supply before it bounced straight down. High fives for everybody. And Joaquin Benoit is still in there for San Diego. So Bud Black trying to get multiple innings out of Benoit.
Well, he only threw 7 pitches last inning to retire the side. And, you know, it's that situation where he has that guy who does have closer stuff. And so instead of wasting a pitcher and bringing in Houston Street because he only threw 7 pitches last inning, he's back out there.
Benoit is 36. Had the second lowest ERA of his career last year, 2.01. Had a career high 24 saves in 26 chances for the American League champion Tigers. Broken bat, pulled foul. Excuse me. I'm off for you. I just awarded the Tigers the American League Championship a year or two late. That was 2012. But he did pitch in that 2012 World Series. Made a couple of appearances. He faced the Red Sox in the ALCS last year. Did not fare well. 3 appearances. Gave up a couple runs. Stan hits a high pop-up. Amarista comes down, over, now back, and then he makes the catch. Remember, he had trouble on that one early in the game that dropped in foul territory. This one, he made the adjustment on.
But I think it's another reason they're looking forward to getting Chase Headley back, not only because of his bat, but Headley a Gold Glove winner in 2012. And it allows him to use Amarista in a role he's good at, and that's playing a little bit of everywhere.
We rarely read emails or tweets when it's not Tuesday night, but Evan's tweet is a good one. Rich and Tommy have stayed up for the entire game. I've got school tomorrow, but my dad says if you guys say yes, I can stay home. We're all for it, Evan. Knock yourself out. Steve Cishek joins Ramos. Cishek up in case the Marlins get a run here, and he is called upon to save the game. Ramos continues to heat up, looking like he's going to come in and pitch the bottom of the ninth if it's still tied. Well, Benoit, good fastball there. 4 years, or rather 3 years with Detroit after a season with the Rays. Spent the first part of his career with the Texas Rangers. McGee gets a piece and fouls it off.
I was just looking, Rich, in that Cubs and White Sox in that box score. Chris Coghlan, the game's being played in White Sox Cellular Field, U.S. Cellular Field. Coghlan DH'd, was hitting 243 in AAA in Iowa. Got called up, and he was 1 for 5 tonight.
Well, good to see Cogs back in the big leagues. The guy we root for. And he joins Emilio Bonifacio. There's a lot of former Marlins swing and a miss. Down goes McGee. John Baker. Rich Renteria, of course, is managing that team.
What Benoit's weapon is that nasty changeup. He's picked up a couple of strikeouts with that pitch.
Justin Ruggiano also on that roster, though he's on the disabled list.
The disabled list right now. Yeah, a lot of Marlins connections with the Cubs.
Saltalamacchia swings and misses. And the changeup is on.
El cambio es perfecto.
Nasty stuff. Saltalamacchia has struck out 3 times. So these guys faced each other in the American League Championship Series last year. Fastball up.
During regular season play, Saltalamacchia 1 for 4 against Benoit. Got that one fastball. He may not get another one. He may go back to his changeup. Even though they've been able to get him tonight with fastballs up. That one, number 4, you can see right down the middle.
In Los Angeles, it's Giants and Dodgers 1-1. In San Diego, it's Marlins and Padres 1-1. Top of the 8th at Chavez Ravine. Top of the 9th here in downtown San Diego. end of the bat. That almost crossed up the shift.
The Dodgers right now are just happy to get back to some Southern California weather with what they had to go through on their road trip. Saw them come into Miami. Had no problems there, but in Minnesota and in Washington, D.C., they had snow and rain issues.
In the other West Coast game, Hisashi Iwakuma and Fernando Rodney finished off a 1-0 4-hit shutout of Kansas City. Seattle winning that ball game up in Seattle. 1-2. Change up again. Saltalamacchia has punched out 4 times tonight. Bottom of the 9th, still 1-1. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world, and by your South Florida Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. 1-1 ball game in San Diego in the 9th, bottom half. Padres getting 2 stellar innings out of Joaquin Benoit. Miami has gone Carter Capps, Mike Dunn, and now A.J. Ramos for the 9th after 6 very nice innings from Jacob Turner.
They had a feeling after both starters got out of this game, the importance of the bullpens, and you talked about the Padre bullpen has done a tremendous job. They faltered a little bit in their game against Kansas City yesterday. They lost 8-0 to the Royals. The bullpen gave up a few runs. But the Marlins bullpen that's been up and down this year has a chance to stay steady and keep this a tie game.
Jed Jerko, Cameron Maben, Yonder Alonso. Ramos asking for a new baseball. Ramos gave up a run against the Dodgers on the 4th. And a fastball misses up. Ramos an opportunity at that point to pick up his first major league save. And it turned into a blown save. He did get the win when the Marlins rallied and walked off. McGee. 1 out.
Yeah, where AJ's run into a few of his problems, it's been in the control area because his ERA is good, 138. Opposing batters hitting 196 against him. But along with 15 strikeouts, 10 walks in 13 innings. So that's where he's gotten in trouble and had some base runners against him.
Cameron Maybin.
I was looking back, Rich, at that unbelievable series Maybin had in 2011 at Pro Player. He was 9 for 15 in the 3-game series, had 5 stolen bases, scored 5 times.
And I think it was Pro Player at that time, too.
I just stay with Pro Player because I lose track. Could have been Landshark. I don't know.
It could have been Marlin or... Oh, no, it could have been Dolphin or Dolphins. Here's a 1-1. Lubbock native, Texas Tech product. And the count evens at 2-2. In that Dodger-Giant game, in the bottom of the 8th. That was a Vogelsong-Beckett matchup. Vogelsong is still in there, 7 innings. Beckett went 6 2/3, 5 hits and a run. Here it was Ian Kennedy and Jacob Turner. Kennedy was downright dominating.
Filthy. You can say it. He was filthy. He had 12 strikeouts.
He did. He struck out 9 of the first 14 guys he faced. He was perfect until 2 outs in the 5th.
Hey, the Marlins have struck out 15 times tonight.
And Kennedy hit his very first Major League home run off of Turner in the 2nd. And that's the only run for the Padres. A Derek Dietrich RBI single, the only run for the Marlins. Ramos is trying to send this into extra innings.
When this is a guy you don't want to walk, because you know if Maybin reaches first, he's going to think about stealing second.
Maybin walks. And you're right about the base stealing part. Certainly Bud Black will look to be aggressive here in a tied game in the bottom of the 9th.
There's a couple of things to think about, though, if you're Bud Black. You've got Alonso up there who can get a ball into that hole, left-handed hitter. And you also, if he were to steal, Mike Redmond has the option of putting Alonso on, not pitching to him.
To center, it's deep. Ozuna has room and makes the catch.
As the night grows longer, the air gets a little thicker here in San Diego. So that ball traveled, looked like it was going to go a long way, but the heavy air just held it back.
Sunday afternoon might be a different story. It's a
different
afternoon game on Sunday.
Same thing happens up in L.A.
Here's Amarista. Now with 2 outs, the likelihood with Amarista up that you're going to send Maybin, it grows.
And if you're Maybin, And if you're Bud Black, you want him to go early. You want to give Amarista a chance at least. You don't want to wait till the count gets to 2 strikes or 2-2.
Amarista had a base hit back in the 7th. Base hits and runs tough to come by tonight. San Diego has 7 hits. Marlins have 4. It is kind of odd looking at the score. It's a 1-1 game. And tonight there have been 4 doubles and a home run.
I remember a couple of the Marlin doubles came with 2 out.
Maben away from first. He's running on the pitch. Swing and a miss. And an easy stolen base for Maben. And now the winning run is in scoring position. But Ramos has an 0-2 count on Amarista.
And it's that guy Amarista at the plate.
The little ninja who beat the Marlins in Miami. But he swings and misses here. Saltalamacchia throws. Jones not at the bag yet. Stops, makes the catch, and steps on the bag. Extra innings coming up. Break out the beef jerky, kids. Diego tonight, extra innings baseball presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. All season long, Jack Link's. Feed your wild side.
Well, here's a little bit of that. A little bit of the wild side. A little bit of late night with the fish. Sit back, relax. The Marlins in extra innings are 1-3. The Padres in extra innings are 3-1. Padres bring on Houston Street.
Every time I hear that music, I think of, and this is when I was a young kid, Joey Heatherton. You kids Google her right now.
Yeah.
Late night music.
You think of Joey Heatherton, I think of the ladies' man.
Well, that's why we're different. I'll stick with my thoughts. You stick with yours.
Houston Street, good sinking fastball. He'll use his He's got a slider, but he'll use that change up to lefties. And he's been a quality closer. This isn't a save situation, but a quality closer for quite a while.
Garrett Jones, Marcell Ozuna, Adeiny Echeverria. And Street misses away. Street, a terrific closer at University of Texas, where his father was a star quarterback back in the, I guess it was the Darrell Royal days. So you never thought you'd have Joey Heatherton and Darrell Royal in the same half inning.
That's because it's late night.
It is. It's late night. It's just a different vibe.
The problem is, Rich, they replay these games at noon, though, also.
See, the FCC
so be careful.
FCC didn't tell us that. They just said, hey, late night with the fish, you guys go get them. Knock yourself out. Brad Hand in Miami's bullpen. Jones's double broke up Kennedy's perfect game bid, even though it was in the 5th inning. He was still perfect through the first 14 outs, 9 of which were strikeouts. Floats that changeup outside. It's 3-1. As you get into extra innings, remember the Marlins, and Ozuna was involved in the play, burned a member of their bench, figuratively, when Donovan Solano came up to pinch hit with 2 outs. And Ozuna was caught off first base on a ball in the dirt.
Good 3-1 pitch, good 3-1 swing, just fouled it off.
And as Tommy Hutton pointed out adroitly 3 innings ago, Bud Black is playing with a short bench himself.
Boy, he has confidence in that changeup to throw it 3-2. You know, we've talked and we talked earlier when Carter Capps was in the game about his unique delivery. Houston Street, a different type, but when he gets ready to go, he's way on that first base side of the rubber and actually rocks toward first base and then goes to the plate.
Jones,
a lot of pitchers go straight back. He goes toward first.
Out of play. Street started his career in Oakland. Had a real nice run in Oakland. And then a 3-year stay in Colorado. This is his 3rd year in San Diego. He's been very good as a Padre. A sub-2 ERA in 2012. A 2.70 ERA last year. And he strikes out Jones.
Hard two-seam sinking fastball. 16th time now tonight for a Marlins strikeout.
We told you earlier that San Diego's bullpen is really, really good. 2nd best in the major leagues. And so the Marlins are now locked in a tug of war with this bullpen. Benoit was terrific. He struck out 3. 4 of the last 5 Marlins have struck out. As Ozuna knocks it up into the seats, foul.
Everybody in the lineup except Marcell Ozuna, who had trouble yesterday, struck out 3 times yesterday. Everybody in the lineup has struck out at least once, except Ozuna.
Ozuna 5 home runs. Breaking ball for a strike.
Yeah, Houston Street, one of those closers that doesn't come in and throw 98. He's got an assortment of pitches, the fastball, the good two-seamer, the changeup, and the slider.
He dispatches Ozuna. 4 consecutive Marlins have struck out. 5 of the last 6 outs have come via the strikeout. And that's how dominant San Diego's pen is tonight and has been this year. How about the Astros rising up and beating the Tigers in Detroit 6-2? That's a foul ball. Amarista played it a bit casually. And now he's double checking just to make sure. He tossed it out of play. Amarista, a guy more accustomed to playing in the middle of the infield rather than the corner. In that Houston win, George Springer hit his first major league home run. One of their top prospects.
Top prospect for the Astros.
And Matt Dominguez, former Marlin, hit his 5th.
I noticed Dominguez hit his off Justin Miller, who at one time was a Marlin. And I bet it was a slider.
Now, I've not seen Justin Miller pitch in a while. I know they've relaxed the tattoo
they have.
rule, so there no longer is the Justin Miller rule. I wonder if he still wears the sleeve.
Well, he may have been grandfathered in and has to wear the sleeve.
The dreaded reverse grandfather rule. There's a 1-2. .33 of 35 in save opportunities last year. Crowd wanted it.
Well, Ozuna able to lay off that slider. It was off the plate.
It was well off the plate. Etch reaches out. Cabrera in the dirt. Out. Just out. 1-2-3 go the Marlins. And a perfect 3 innings from San Diego's bullpen.
guys. It's getting a little chillier here in San Diego as the night goes on, but I don't think the Marlins are uncomfortable at all, because when we were chatting with manager Mike Redmond pregame, and that was, 5 o'clock or so, the bench in the dugout is heated. So the Miami Marlins, used to the warmth of South Florida, feeling very warm and cozy in their dugout, even though it's gotten chilly here in San Diego, with the nice heated benches for their late night with the fish here in San Diego.
Very nice. AJ Ramos, a breaking ball and a strike. Nick Hundley pinch hitting here in the bottom of the 10th inning. AJ Ramos into his second inning in relief. Last inning, we were running through that Houston game, and the name Justin Miller came up, and we both were remiss, and an E6 from me and E3 on you. That former Marlin Justin Miller passed away a year and a half, 2 years ago.
At way too young of age.
And we appreciate the tweet that from Andrew and from me, who alerted us to that. We appreciate you staying up late night or early morning. AJ Ramos looks sharp. Nick Hundley goes down.
Nice that our late night viewers scoop a poor throw every once in a while.
Yeah, well, hey, you miss a cutoff man. That's what happens sometimes in extra innings when you get all geeked up on Mountain Dew and Jack Link's beef jerky. Top of the order, Chris Denorfia. Everett Cabrera is on deck.
It's a crazy kind of game. I mean, we've talked about it with the Padres' only run coming from their pitcher hitting his first career home run. With the Marlins having struck out 17 times. This is one of those games, if you can sneak away with a win, it's amazing. And it would, for the Marlins anyway, would just get this road trip off to a fantastic start. But at this point, it looks like it's tough for both teams to hit. Both bullpens have been doing a good job.
It seems like now that for Mike Redmond and for Bud Black, both teams have kind of pushed through the best part of the other's bullpen. Marlins have been through Benoit and Street. You saw Thayer throwing in San Diego's pen. And the Marlins with Caps and Dunn, although the Marlins do have Cishek left. Caps, Dunn, and Ramos are probably the Marlins' best short guys, not named Cishek. To center, and Ozuna's there, and he makes the catch.
Good comeback by AJ after falling behind a little bit.
So AJ's got a couple outs. And here's Everett Cabrera. Ramos The count 1-1.
The other thing, Rich, from both managers, they've been able to get a couple of innings. Different bullpen guys. Benoit for San Diego, and if A.J. Ramos gets through this inning, he will have given Red a couple of innings, and he's made some good pitches.
That was a good changeup.
Bullpen's healthy. A lot of things to think about. Tomorrow, Jose pitches. Hopefully, he gets deep into a game. And then you think about the last 2 games, the complete game by Henderson Alvarez, and the 8 shutout innings by Tom Kohler yesterday.
That's tomorrow night here in San Diego. Tonight, back home in South Florida. Cabrera, a couple hits, a single, a double. Ian Kennedy, of all people, homered in the 2nd inning, his first major league home run. And that's the only run for the Padres tonight. Kennedy was lights out on the mound, struck out 9 of the first 14 he faced. And then the Marlins got a double in the 6th from Christian Yelich with 2 outs. Derek Dietrich, an RBI single to knock in Miami's only run. Look out! A swing, a miss, and an epic bat throw. Exit stage left. Let's go to the 11th. Presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. This is San Diego. This is extra innings. And it's 1-1. If you just stumbled in upon this game, here's your game summary. 1-1 in the 11th.
Well, we went through this once before. We want to give it to you again. Ian Kennedy was pretty terrific in his game. And Jacob Turner settled down, made one bad pitch, a 2-0 fastball to Ian Kennedy, who hit his first major league homer. How about Christian Yelich, a double over the head of the left fielder. He was driven in by Derek Dietrich. You've seen all the scoring. That's been it. 1-1's the score, and we go to the 11th inning.
Changes to note on the mound and at the plate. Dale Thayer almost hits Jeff Baker. Thayer looks like he just walked out of the cornfield out into the field of dreams with the throwback Goose Gossage late 1800s look.
I tell you, it's a little Goose Gossage. It's a little Mike Marshall, the reliever with the Dodgers, the Expos.
Baker pinch hitting, and he takes down low. This is the 9th spot in the order for Miami. The Marlins have already burned Donovan Solano.
And Reed Johnson.
Baker lifts one foul and out of play.
Reed Johnson pinch hit in the 8th inning and flew out to center field.
Jeff Mathis still on that bench. Ed Lucas. Ed Lucas is like the most valuable piece. Surprised he's not in the game by now because you can move him around so much. Baker left field. Smith makes the catch.
A little bit in on his hands. You could just tell by the sound. Didn't miss it by much.
So I think in a modern day, I mean, in 20 years of baseball of the future, a ballpark that is built in a San Francisco, in a Los Angeles, in San Diego, Oakland, where they've got the marine layer.
The marine layer, yeah.
Maybe Seattle. The ballpark can adjust automatically. Marine layer comes in, fences automatically.
Fences come in.
Yeah, like the pool cover or the roof of Marlins Park.
They could roll the fences in. And then roll them back out for the day games.
Yelich doubled in the 6th.
Well, the one little cozy area to hit a home run here in this ballpark is down that right field line. It's just 322 down the line, and there's that little section that's very comforting to left-handed hitters. If they get a pitch they can pull.
Dale Thayer is a Southern California guy, went to Northern California to play college ball at Chico State University.
He's aggressive out there. A lot of fastballs and sliders, occasionally a changeup, but he just gets it, and more often than not stays in the strike zone.
Out to Jerko, and Yelich is out number 2. 2 innings of Joaquin Benoit, an inning of Houston Street. And so far, the San Diego bullpen has retired every Marlin they've faced. That's 11 in a row by the Padre bullpen.
The last hit by a Marlin was in the 7th inning, and it was an infield base hit by Marcell Ozuna.
Dietrich now. Giants and Dodgers are 1-1, but that game is a little slower than this one.
Jose's checking, and he's probably already told Mike Redmond, if you need a hitter, I'm available.
Well, Henderson Alvarez is...
He's number 1.
Yeah, but... Jerko drops it. And obviously it's an error, and it's an enormous one here in extra innings because it brings Stanton to the plate with a runner on base.
Well, a couple of left-handed bats in Yelich and Dietrich have done just what Thayer wants them to do. They've rolled over on that 2-seam sinker and hit ground balls to second. And Jerko just dropped it.
So Stanton comes up. He is 0 for 3. A 9-game hit streak. He's not extended it tonight. Thayer whips in a fastball for a strike. just elevated a fastball and threw it by him.
Well, he's seen 2 fastballs on the first 2 pitches. That's a pretty good one to hit.
Thayer has been really, really good this year. 14 consecutive innings without giving up a run. Stanton drives it, center field, deep, back goes Maben, and it is gone! 2-run shot, opposite field. Giancarlo, welcome back to California.
Oh, man, an 0-2 fastball. We talked about how Thayer likes to be aggressive. He just said, okay, I've given you 1, I've given you 2, I'm going to blow a 3rd one by you, and Stanton hit it to the beach. Wow.
That cut right through the marine layer.
Ain't no marine layer going to stop that. Number 11 for Stanton. RBIs 38 and 39.
So that's a 10-game hit streak. He's hit 4 homers over the 10 games. McGee knocks one foul. 3-1 Miami, and Steve Cishek immediately pops up in the Marlins pen and is in full warm-up mode.
And how big is the Jed Jerko error?
Thayer had gone 14 consecutive innings without giving up a run. Stanton ends that. Both of the runs are unearned. But on a night where runs have been really tough to find, Miami's got themselves a 3-1 lead with 2 in the 11th.
And as I said earlier, you have an opportunity to win a game when you've struck out 17 times. That's a bonus. You can just see Giancarlo, the different attitude and the way he's been this year. I know he's off to a good start, but it's been since day one. It's been since spring training.
It's been since he showed up early to spring training with a smile on his face, with his chest out. A roller up the line. It's a foul ball. When Stan arrived, Tommy, you just got a sense that he really took ownership of the ball club. It was like, this is my team. I'm thrilled to be here. I can't wait to get started. And for guys like Yelich and Ozuna and Echeverria to see that from the best player on the team, one of the best players in all of baseball, that can't help but rub off.
I tell you what, there are not many right-handed hitters that hit rockets over 400 feet into that beach area at this time of night in this ballpark.
McGee, right field, Denorfia on the run. He reaches up and makes the catch. Giancarlo Stanton, a laser beam to right center. And just like that, Miami with a 2-run lead in the 11th. home runs for Giancarlo Stanton. His latest one to right center field. Phantom cam gives you the extra slow motion look. No vibration on the bat. That means he got it cleanly. What a smooth and easy swing. 106 miles an hour off the bat. And you don't think he's taken ownership of this thing? You see the reaction. You saw the dugout reaction going to break with A.J. Ramos and the guys behind him fired up. So Stanton is back in Southern California, and he leaves the yard here in San Diego.
Pops is in town, leading the National League, 11 home runs.
Now it's Steve Cishek, and an opportunity for save number 7. He gets Seth Smith, Yasmani Grandal, and Jed Jerko. Both these Southern California games are going extra innings. Giants and Dodgers 1-1 top 10. Marlins 3-1 over the Padres, bottom 11. And Smith stands in. Doubled in the 8th. Cishek nearly took out his back leg. And it's 1-0.
Boy, I think I shortchanged Giancarlo with RBIs. 40 RBIs for Stanton now. He had 38 coming into this game. So the National League leader in that department as well.
Cishek, 2 breaking balls to Smith. Two and one. Marlins have 3 runs. They have 5 hits. And they have struck out 17 times in this ball game.
That's incredible. And as I said before, to be able to have a chance, and they have a great chance here to win this game, and to start this road trip this way, and to take sole possession of first place.
Struck him out. Cishek comes back and gets Smith.
The Marlins came into this game tied with Washington, 19-15. Well, the Nationals are off tonight. Boy, there's that backdoor slider that Cishek loves to use.
Grandal takes a strike. Well, A.J. Ramos, with his 2 innings in relief, is in line to pick up the win. Cishek trying to nail down the save. Marlins bullpen super in this one. It started with Carter Capps, then Mike Dunn, then A.J. Ramos. Capps and Dunn for an inning each. Ramos for 2. Cishek trying to put an inning in the books and put an end to this.
And what a great time. There's Mike Dunn for the bullpen to just to get their roles and start to put things together. What a great time it would be on this road trip.
Grandal fouls it back. One-two. On a line and caught by Ozuna in center field. 2 outs here in the 11th. Marlins an out away from an extra inning win. I know the walk-offs were fun. They certainly were on the great homestand. Marlins had 3 walk-offs. They've won 4 straight and 8 of 9. But an extra inning Giancarlo Stanton homer, and the guy that probably feels that the worst of all is at the plate, and that's Jed Jerko. It was Jerko who fielded Derek Dietrich's bouncer. Jerko was on the move, but it was fairly routine. And when he tried to transfer the ball to his throwing hand, he dropped it. That brought Stanton up with 2 outs, and he hit it out. Ball game, and the Marlins seal the deal. Cishek gets the save, and Miami in 11 beats San Diego 3-1. Keeps the good times rolling. Importantly, gets a road win, which had been tough to get. 5 in a row for the Fish, 9 of 10 for the Fish, 20 and 15 for the Fish, and for Giancarlo Stanton, his 11th homer. A 2-run homer for Stanton is the game winner, and he'll be